All right, all right. What's up, everybody? We should be live here in just a minute. If all is well, this is crazy. Kamala Harris tomorrow is going to have to do something that she probably thought she would never have to do, which is pretty funny. Let's see here if my software will cooperate. It's been a while since I've been on. Let's see. No, I am logged in. Looks like I should be live in multiple places. What we got here? Let's see. Save changes. Okay, I see I'm at least live on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? I know it's pretty late, but I was just thinking about this. This is going to be hilarious tomorrow to watch this happen. Now, I should be live on YouTube as well, but if not, I will premiere this later. It's been a while since I've been on and streamed, but hope y'all are doing well. What karma for Kamala Harris that she went up against against Donald Trump, and now she has to certify his election, which is just wild. She's going to be so sad having to count those electoral votes where Trump got way more than she got. And I just want to look at some posts regarding this. Hey, everyone, tomorrow Kamala Harris has to certify her own presidential election loss to Donald Trump. Carry on. Anna Paulina Luna, tomorrow we certify President Trump's election. Good night. DC Drano, is there anything better than knowing that after 4 years of wall-to-wall hyperventilating about January 6th, Democrats and the media will now have to watch Trump get certified as president on J6? Brings a smile to our face. I mean, that's if Democrats don't pull anything crazy, which I just don't think there's the political will for them to do that. I think even among most of their voters, most Democrats, not all, they saw that this election went horrible for Kamala Harris. They know that Donald Trump did really well. I think they're going to have no choice but to certify. You know, Jamie Raskin said in 2021 that they were going to use the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which again, you have to be impeached and in the House of Representatives and convicted in the U.S. Senate for that to work. And that didn't happen to Donald Trump. He was never convicted in the U.S. Senate the two times they impeached him. So I'm going to try to stream this tomorrow. Again, this will be absolutely hilarious. I'm going to just look at some more posts. Look at that picture of Trump. That's funny. She looks kind of drunk there, but then again, she does, a lot of nights.
Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow you must get up in the morning, leave that
What's up,
naval
Elaine,
observatory,
Donald,
go to the United States
everybody,
Senate,
good to see you.
and you must certify the victory of Donald J. Trump, where he beat you like a drum on November 5th, 2024, where he destroyed you. He demolished you worse than any of your Willie Browns or Montel Williams or Montel Jordan, whoever you were with, all million of them. However, whatever the population of LA is, we know you've been with them.
Dang.
Kamala, what are you drinking tomorrow? That's my question for you, darling. What is on tap in Kamala's house? Number one,
she might have to drink something.
Is it wine? Is it gin? Is it rum? What are you drinking, Kamala? Because I know that you're going to be drunk as a motherfucker tomorrow, and I would love to know what you are drinking. Tomorrow, it's the last day you ever have to do this. You don't have to be in politics after tomorrow. You can get back on your
That's
knees
hilarious.
and do what you do best. You can do what you do best. Get down on the ground and go round and round and round. You know what you love to do.
Everybody's talking crap about her. Let's see. Okay, this was 7 hours ago. Tomorrow they certify the election results. A, everything goes smoothly. B, something is going to happen to postpone. I don't believe it will, but we'll see. Developing. B squad investigate. I think you can see that on the screen if you're watching. Investigate suspicious package 5 miles from White House ahead of certification. Yeah, I mean, there's so many psyops going on recently. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about this thing that happened down in Louisiana and outside of the Trump Hotel in Nevada. It is like both those guys came from the same military base where the CIA has been known to do like mind control operations on soldiers there, or allegedly. There's been allegations of that. I can't say that for a fact, but there's some pretty reputable sources that have reported that. Donald is asking, what time tomorrow does the certification start? You know, that's a good question. I'm gonna Google that. I was gonna look that up tomorrow, but I'll look that up right now so everybody can know what time it starts tomorrow, so you can tune in. I'll most likely be streaming it. Let's see. Presidential certification time. It's wild. It's already been 4 years. We're going to talk about some other news later. Some really good news about one of Donald Trump's his nominees that's pretty much just got the green light from the rhinos, which is surprisingly it's amazing. I didn't expect that to happen this early, but yeah, he's got the green light from the rhinos for a major nominee. Let's see here. News. AP. Winter storm will not delay election certification. House leader says. Yeah, Speaker Johnson mentioned that earlier, that even though there's going to be a huge amount of snow, I mean, there's snow where I'm at. There's like 8 inches outside. Let's see. I'll post in the comments and figure out what time this is tomorrow. We'll figure it out. But let's keep looking here at a couple other posts regarding this, and then I bet MSNBC's freaking out, and then we'll move on to some nominee news about Trump. We're going to look at how some international events are taking place. There's just so much going on. As it's been, I feel like this whole last year, every day, the news cycle is like 4 days worth of news. It's almost, you either have to go really in depth on one story or talk about 20 different stories. And it's just been like that constantly.
We will have a vice president presiding on tomorrow who believes in the peaceful transition of the office. Okay, and she will preside over her own defeat. I saw Al Gore do that some years ago. These things are what makes America great. Not whether or not you've got more hits on your social media than someone else, or whether you can insult more people than the other person, but whether you can commit yourself to maintaining those things that keep us strong.
Okay, so that's good, right? I mean, here's a Democrat. He might not be Adam Schiff or Nancy Pelosi, but here's a Democrat saying, hey, it's Trump's win, and we're going to give it to Trump.
As a country, and keep us great as a nation. And that's what you're going to see tomorrow, a great contrast. I hope the American people will take time out to watch this tomorrow and hopefully have their faith in this great country renewed.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Even Democrats, like, I don't know much about this guy, his voting record. They just said he was from North Carolina, I believe. They just said where he's from, but I mean, people were tired of this extreme left-wing portion of the Democratic Party. Again, there's a lot of them. I'm not saying they don't exist, but as many of them that there are, there's a lot more Democrats that are just like sick of it. So I'm trying to see who this guy is. James Clyburn. Yeah, I don't know his voting record, but yeah, he's saying, hey, it's Trump's. It's over. Look at that. You gotta love these numbers. I just keep looking back at this, and I remember like 6 months ago, I predicted over 300 for Trump. My friends that I had streamed with called me crazy. They're like, I don't know if it's going to be that big, but then again, that was before. I think that was before Biden got cooed, because Biden actually would have done better than Kamala Harris. Trump still would have won just because the inflation was so bad. It was horrible. Everybody knows what's going on at the border. You can't hide it. I mean, there's so many stories about these Democrat cities where illegal immigrants are doing the most horrendous things. I wanted to show you earlier today, Representative Nancy Mace got on the House floor and she named like 50 crimes committed by illegal immigrants, but her discussion was so graphic, like Facebook would have taken it down. I couldn't even post it. But I mean, people were seeing this. Like, you probably saw what happened with that guy in Honduras a couple weeks ago. He set the woman on fire. Like, people don't want this, man. And then Biden gives George Soros the Medal of Freedom yesterday. It's sick. It's the sickest ending, or one of, I mean, things could definitely be a lot worse, but a very sick ending to the Biden presidency, that you would have someone like George Soros receiving the Medal of Freedom, like Hillary Clinton receiving the Medal of Freedom. Like, there's obviously warmongers on the right, some, the rhinos, but Hillary Clinton is a huge warmonger. She's not done anything good for these United States, her or her husband. And allegedly her husband, Bill Clinton, went into a McDonald's the other day. This might have been a month ago. And the employees thought that he was Joe Biden. They don't even recognize him anymore. So that's pretty wild. But yeah, just to take a look at this. This is that video. I'm not going to play it, but there was 158 Democrats who will not. They voted no to deport the criminal illegal immigrants who committed the worst of crimes, like against kids and women. 158 Democrats voted no. And it's literally, I mean, no, obviously, I've said this before, bills will have a name, and sometimes there's something else in it that is trickery, and it's BS. But as far as I know, this was just like a straight single topic, or there wasn't anything major controversial in it other than to deport migrants that are sex offenders. And 158 Democrats voted no on that. I don't get it, man. Like, what? Who are they trying to please other than, you would think they just have to hate the country? Like, who's paying them to do something like that, to keep those kind of people in the country? Damn, those are good liberal tears. Oh, this meme never gets old, or variations of it. I am your president. No. Don says Liz Cheney. Yeah, she's here. Oh, here. This is really interesting. So Biden is considering giving preemptive pardons to, I think, like 50 Democrats, but that's never been done before, and they're most likely constitutionally invalid. That you can't give someone a preemptive pardon. From my understanding, I heard not Alan Dershowitz, but Jonathan Turley discuss a pardon. The mechanism constitutionally is after a conviction. You can't give somebody a pardon for some crime they haven't been convicted of. So that's not going to work. And interestingly, Adam Schiff is begging President Biden to not give pardons because or preemptive pardons. He thinks it makes everybody look guilty beforehand. So there's going to be a huge fight in the Senate over Kash Patel, and I don't know. We'll see with the rhinos, but Trump just has to keep pushing for him. I believe that's just the key. That's one of the key positions. I really hope Trump. I mean, I know he's got to get these first 100 days on rolling, on the ball. And Speaker Johnson talked about passing one bill that gets the budget set for a while, because that's something that happened. Right before Christmas, they extended the government shutdown to March, somewhere in March. So that's a thing that could get in the way of Trump's first 100 days. But Speaker Johnson talked about they're going to make it a package that's going to allow the American credit to be stabilized globally, while Doge is just going to come in and cut. And I mentioned this earlier, too, the other day in a shorter video. Speaker Johnson, he has been a rhino. He's made some horrible decisions. He's made some decisions that, honestly, I would have shut the government down if I were Speaker. The border stuff, I would have just said, no, I'd rather shut the government down. But there's a lot of stuff that he passed or brought to a vote that if he wouldn't have, the legislation wouldn't what it was, Biden would have vetoed it and no legislation would have passed. And some people say, great, don't pass any more laws. I kind of feel that way. That's how I feel. But I mean, I guess from his perspective, it was, all right, I've got to get something at least passed, and that Biden won't veto, because then it would be 2/3 to override the veto, and then it would just be no legislation. So anyways, he's under Trump. He looks like he's under Trump's thumb, and I think he's going to do exactly what Donald Trump wants him to do. So Trump is he's reportedly preparing to grant clemency to over 1,000 individuals convicted or charged in connection with just about 4 years ago today. Short of 4 years and about 20-something minutes. So clemency, so a pardon is a form of clemency. These could be pardons. He could just commute their sentences, but I believe I heard him say the verb pardon, which will make it, not so. And that should be the case. Look at this man. Look at Trump. I mean, it's just wild to me, people that are just walking like that. I mean, I'd imagine some of them have been in jail for 4 years, or maybe 2.5 or 3 years. And you got these illegal immigrants committing back-to-back crimes, getting out in, I don't know, a month, 2 months. That's like the depth. This is one of the telltale signs of Marxism. I can't remember who said this, but it was spot on. It's like, when you use the criminals as you let them free, the actual bad people, and you aggressively pursue people that are either innocent or they're guilty of very minor things, and you aggressively pursue them of minor things. When you invert the justice system like that, that's a sign of Marxism and wanting to destroy society. That's exactly what George Soros has done. That's what they did with this 4 years ago. And I think there should be a criminal investigation into Liz Cheney. And that's why there's going to be such a fight over Kash Patel, because these Democrats know there's going to be hell to face if Kash Patel does get confirmed. So here's the good news. This is such great news. So Pete Hegseth is set to be confirmed as the next Secretary of Defense, as confirmed by Senate Majority Leader John Thune in a private conversation with President-elect Donald Trump. Despite some controversies and ethical concerns regarding Hegseth's past, including allegations that have led to further scrutiny by the Senate Armed Services Committee, sources close to the matter indicate that he has secured the necessary votes for confirmation. This development reflects ongoing political maneuvers and the anticipation of a significant policy shift within the Department of Defense. Say goodbye to the woke BS. Trump said day one he's banning the agenda, like all the I don't even want to say the word to get this live stream like flagged. The people, some people that are there now, a lot of them, I think like 70,000 are going to be banned from serving in the military. And he's going to, I think we're going to see the Russia and the Ukraine thing, it's going to end. That might take some months. But what complicated this, Trump said, I'm going to negotiate and get this ended quickly. As soon as Trump said that, when, after he won the election, what does Biden do? He has U.S. personnel shooting U.S. missiles into Russian cities. That's never happened before. And then it looks like the CIA helped take out one of his top generals, Putin's top generals. So, that's not a condition that allows Trump to negotiate. When Biden is out, it'll be a lot easier for Trump to negotiate because there's not going to be that thing happening. And then we can refocus on what's really the real enemy is China. I believe, that's my personal opinion. They seek world domination. They have been abusing the Panama Canal, and that's why Trump has been bullish on the Panama Canal. Over 8,000 American men died building the Panama Canal. I believe Jimmy Carter sold it for $1. It was like a symbolic gesture. It wasn't really a sale. But I think it was transferred, and then $1 was the symbolism for a sale. But if China is going to subvert Panama and they're going to allow their fentanyl to come through the Panama Canal, they're going to allow anything that they want that is subversive to the United States, yeah, we should do something about that. I believe that's the Monroe Doctrine. It says the United States reserves the right to do what we must to preserve our dominance in the Western Hemisphere. Hey, China, hey, Russia, hey, all those countries, you are in the Eastern Hemisphere. If you start acting up in Latin America, then we're going to do something about it. And obviously, we want peace. We don't want these never-ending wars. But if there was anything ever justified ever, it would, in my opinion, some people think that Russia is going to try to reestablish the Soviet Union. I don't believe that. I just believe that Putin doesn't want people super close to his border with missiles, but, people debate that. But if there was anything that would be justified, it's what's happening in, south of our border. This caused so many people to perish. And that's being debated. There's going to be an invasion of Mexico. It's not going to be like not a ton of ground troops. It's going to be like targeted airstrikes and Delta Force nighttime assassinations, allegedly. This is what's being reported. But it is what it is. They're going to cooperate with the Mexican government if the Mexican government will cooperate. But this is such great news about Pete Hegseth, though, that he is getting in because, he's such a strong anti-communist, and you could really sense the incompetence, wokeness, and Marxism in Biden's military. Like, they messed up so many things. It just seems like, with the China balloon, first of all, like, how do you do that? I don't think any time in modern history we've ever had a rival nation have their, surveillance equipment deployed for the whole United States to see, and it just like went over the whole country. What if that would have been an EMP and would have, taken out our old broken down power grid that we need to fix, and that all of this infrastructure bill money that Biden spent and Congress, passed. I haven't seen any major infrastructure upgrades or heard about. I think they've built something like 2 electric vehicle chargers. What the hell is that? What are you doing with that money? So it just seems like a money laundering operation, perhaps. So here it is. Congress is exploring a comprehensive bill with Trump-era tax renewals. A lot of liberals, here's something to keep in mind. A liberal will argue with you, or a leftist will say this. They'll say, so why did Donald Trump make the corporate tax cuts permanent, but the individual tax cuts temporary? Well, there's a law that passed in the late 1970s that says taxes must make up a certain percentage of the budget for any kind of cut to taxes to be permanent. So it's literally illegal, unless that law was repealed, to make permanent tax cuts for the U.S. citizens in the way that Trump did. And before, 1913, during World War II, or right after the Civil War, because there was taxes for a little while then, in addition to all of our tariffs around the world. There was only 2% of U.S. income tax the government relied on. Now the federal government relies on 35%, or maybe it's 37%, is our money. But we could get back to having no income tax. What it would take, though, is all of the people that have paid in. If you've paid into Social Security, I don't know what the cutoff age would be. You're good. You're covered for life. Everybody else, I don't know if it's under 40. This is debatable. This is a very hot topic amongst Republicans and Democrats. If you're under 40, you're under 45, you get your money back. And then Social Security's ended and Medicare's ended because, honestly, those things are, and this is the third rail politics. Nobody likes to talk about this, but those things are bankrupting the country because there's not enough young people to pay for the extended lifespans of Americans. Our average lifespan just decreased a little bit, but it's still like 77, 78. And you take that and compare that to when Social Security was created, when people were, passing away in their 50s or early 60s. It doesn't work anymore. So that would eliminate income tax, and I would be for that. If they made the age 40 and they gave everybody their money back under 40, over time, and people over 40 stay in the program and it's phased out, that I'd be cool with that. But this is we'll see if the rhinos come around. Let's see. Obviously, Schiff is. Let's see how panicked he looks.
Patel for FBI director. That comes against the backdrop of this latest terror attack in New Orleans. You, of course, serve on the Judiciary Committee. If Kash Patel is confirmed, will you be able to work with him? You've been quite critical of him.
Well, first of all, Kash Patel should not be confirmed. And I think the terrorist attack in New Orleans, and my heart goes out to those who have lost loved ones in that attack, just underscores again the importance of having someone directing the FBI that has experience, that has judgment, that has character, that will prioritize defending the country against the violence we saw in New Orleans or the violence we saw in January.
That disgusts me that he thinks that Kash Patel is not up to that job. It was Kash Patel and Devin Nunes that discovered the Russia hoax. They collectively and Kash Patel individually can see between the lines, read between the cracks. And for him to insinuate anything differently is just him being a partisan.
6th, not someone whose top priority is political vendettas, who believes in deep state conspiracy thinking, not someone who is as unqualified as Kash Patel. So Kash Patel is an easy one. He should not be confirmed.
They still talk to us like we're stupid, like we don't realize that the government has bad people in it. Deep state conspiracy theories. I mean, again, what is the deep state? It's unelected bureaucrats that have a lot of power and that do things that benefit them and not the American people. It's not like we're talking about aliens, although, you know, with these UFOs, I would think those are either demons or who knows what. But the guy that did the Nevada outside of the Trump hotel in the Tesla, allegedly, there's so much like mixed reporting on this going on. I'm just going to tell you what's came to surface. He allegedly had leaked an email before this happened, and he wanted to get it to, I think, Sean Ryan, which is a big military. And China has these drones, and they're showing force against the U.S. by having these drones. I don't know that I believe that, because most of the drones I've seen have had Federal Aviation Administration compliant lights. Now, I don't know that all of them have. There's been some on video that just look super freaky, that accelerate really fast. I mean, if the video is real, I don't know. But honestly, I wouldn't doubt that maybe the U.S. and China would have anti-gravity or like propulsion technology, because we've been studying quantum mechanics for nearly 100 years now. And I mean, we're colliding particles in the Large Hadron Collider. I believe that's very possible. So, I mean, who knows though? It's just so crazy. That's why we got to have good people looking out for our national security. You don't, the last thing you need is a DEI hire looking out for national security. And it's either, I don't know if it's psyops to get the country to start thinking a certain way, if they're trying to prepare some kind of war with Islam, or if it's just incompetence. But either way, you don't need a DEI hire over national security. That's the last thing you need. So this is good news for Canada. I know I've got some Canadian viewers. If anybody from Canada is watching, Trudeau is expected to announce his resignation before the National Caucus meeting Wednesday. Wow. So that's less than 72 hours away that Justin Trudeau is expected to resign. I mean, here's leading report. They don't usually like have leading headlines that are like outrageous. So it seems like there's a high level of confidence that Justin Trudeau is going to resign soon. Let's see what this post is. What we saw on the streets of Montreal last night was appalling. Acts of anti-Semitism, intimidation, and violence must be condemned wherever we see them. The RCMP are in communication, I guess that's the Royal Canadian Military Police, with local police. There must be consequences and rioters held accountable. You were at the Taylor, this is Valentina Gomez. You were at the Taylor Swift concert while the terrorists took over Montreal. Resign. So I don't know what happened in Canada, but apparently something crazy happened, and he was at a Taylor Swift concert. I mean, they're importing people as bad as it's been here in the United States. They're importing people legally and giving them legitimacy in Canada. And I've seen on video Muslims say, yeah, when we get enough people, we want Sharia law in Canada. We want that to be government law. And I mean, when you do this, it's just a fantasy. We're witnessing their fantasy collapse in real time. I think there's like legitimately liberals who believe you can have Islam and Christianity, like massive numbers of both of those religions. Although I think Christianity is a relationship with God. It's beyond being a religion. Jesus Christ is king. But those two things coexisting, people with those ideologies, it can't happen. It'll be collapse. And we're witnessing that. And some people, the globalists, have weaponized Islam by bringing it into the West. But there's been some just like bleeding heart liberals who thought it would legitimately work. So maybe Trudeau is going to resign because of whatever happened in Canada. But it looks like people, hey, Canada, our offer still stands for being there. That's referencing being the 51st state. And if you look at Canada's GDP, and I mean, the reason I'm talking about this is the globalist policies are failing everywhere that is doing the mass importation of Islam and other incompatible social groups with Western ideology. Those countries are collapsing. Like the only country in Europe right now that's doing amazing that I've seen is Poland. And Poland, if you hurt one of their border security, or are a threat to their border security, they use lethal force in Poland. And I mean, that country is probably one of the safest countries on the planet right now, just because they've refused to allow any of the immigration. So look at this meme. There's a reason why women sit with their knees together. That's funny. Yeah, I guess he's out. That's pretty wild. We'll move on with a couple other stories. So OpenAI, this is big news. Artificial general intelligence. They're aiming for deployment by 2025. And, I'm a big fan of AI for small business. I think it can help small business compete with bigger businesses. I think it's not all net negative. But allegedly, there's been some bad people appointed to the board of OpenAI. They're the creators of ChatGPT and Sora, which is a video generation AI. We'll see what happens with that. I'm going to keep an eye on OpenAI because the good thing is this. There's been, AI is democratized. And as much as they've tried to keep it a secret with their models, everybody, like so many people are learning about how they're doing it and they're replicating it. And why that's important to us as Americans and our constitutional liberties is that they're like the oligarchs are not going to be able to monopolize artificial intelligence to rule over humanity. It's been great seeing like hundreds of companies come out with variations of AI, different tools that are uncensored, that are just as powerful or just a couple months behind what OpenAI is doing. So that's actually really good. That's good for our liberties on the AI front. Allegedly, the English police will hunt down and try to arrest Americans who post memes about England. I mean, they're just going full fascist. And I don't really know what's going to happen because, I mean, what can the people do in England? They don't have a constitution and a Bill of Rights like ours. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Elon Musk called on this guy, the PM of the UK, to resign. His approval rating has crashed significantly, like very quickly, like the quickest in history, or well, in modern history, from what I've seen. I'm not a UK politics expert, but his approval rating went down faster than Biden's did when he got in office. So that tells you something. I mean, they're literally suppressing speech. It's very sad to see. Yeah. So Musk said this, that judge should be removed from the bench in disgrace, two-tier justice. So this kid on the left, well, I don't want to call him a kid. I think he's a grown man. He got 20 months in prison for a social media post. And then one of these guys, maybe both of these guys on the right, 6 months for ending a teen's life with a machete. Isn't that nuts? Isn't that crazy? Like, there's no other way to explain it other than that their goal is to just cause mayhem. And I don't know exactly what percentage of the United Kingdom is Islam. I don't think it's as a biggest percentage as a lot of people think, but they're reaching the mass. They're reaching critical mass where they're causing social upheaval. And I think in Germany, the AfD party won a major regional election. If anybody, I know I have some German viewers as well. If anybody can comment on this, I believe they won a major German election or regional election in Germany. And they're gaining popularity nationally as well, as there was a huge Muslim protest of Christmas. And then obviously, I don't know if there was just injuries or there was fatalities. There was an event, somebody ran over, I think it was like a vehicle there in Germany around Christmas time at a Christmas parade. So Germany will probably be one of the first countries that will, I think they have ambitions of mass deportation, which I think good for them because these societies can't coexist. But here's the UK. So again, yeah, I don't know if they might be like 7 or 8% of the UK, but it's enough so far to cause destabilization, and they're advocating for their view, their worldview, and it's just simply incompatible with Western values. So I got to be honest, I'm not happy with the way Elon Musk, his rhetoric has been recently. I don't know if you've been following the H-1B1, the visa program, that whole debate, that whole controversy. But essentially, my perspective from what I recall him saying was that we need he essentially said, F your face if you disagree with me on this. Or it was a meme from some like comedy with Ben Stiller like 15 years ago. But anyways, he got really angry about it, and he says he just wants to import the top 0.1% of talent. And I would agree with that. That would be like very few people, regardless of where they come from. But if you go to the website, if you go to the H-1B1 visa website and you look at the jobs they're hiring for gas station clerks. They're hiring for these like associate level, like entry level engineers. And they're hiring, when I say they, I'm talking like all of the major S&P 100, the top 100 companies in America, and some of the, maybe even some middle of the road companies that are like big. They're not in the top 100, but they're trying to suppress American wages by doing this. And Musk went on to say, I only want the top 0.1%. So hopefully, that's true. But his rhetoric on that initially, his and Vivek Ramaswamy's. Vivek Ramaswamy said Americans, we don't have a low IQ problem, but they value the jock over the nerd, and that is why one reason why America is not doing as well as it should be doing. He got a lot of pushback for that as well, which I believe what he says is true to an extent, but you can't tell me that there's not enough American engineers coming out of Harvard, out of Stanford. Now, I know that their undergraduate is super woke in those Ivy Leagues, but engineering, interestingly, is the most conservative postdoctorate area of study. They're super conservative. They acknowledge reality because they deal with physics all day. They deal with the constraints of our world. So they're not like idealistic with stupid wokeness. So I know there's enough Americans. It's a push to push down labor costs. So hopefully, Musk and Vivek will just stick to cutting government expenses, and Trump will not. I mean, Musk donated $250 million to Trump. So hopefully that won't make Trump beholden to Musk for, we'll see. I'm still very much in favor of what Musk has done for free speech. This was just not a good moment. I just want to be honest about it. Christine says, Facebook is messing with his feed. It won't allow a thumbs up. That's weird. I'm not sure what's up with that. I can believe it. Let's look at this quick statement from Zelensky. I think there's captions, English captions.
It won't be long because Europe will be looking at us and we'll be looking at Trump.
That's great. This is his voice with AI translated into English, I'm pretty sure. It sounds almost like him, but a little bit off.
It won't be long because Europe will be looking at us and we'll be looking at Trump. And by the way, I now see that when I talk about something with Donald Trump, whether we meet in person or we just have a call, all the European leaders always ask, how was it? This shows the influence of Donald Trump. And this has never happened before. With an American president, I tell you, from my experience, this also gives you confidence, that he can stop this war.
Facts. Yeah, I believe that. Well, hey, that is the updates. You got Pete Hegseth. He's got the votes. He's going to be Secretary of Defense. That is great news. Trump needs to keep pushing for Kash Patel. Tomorrow, I will try to stream the certification and watch Kamala Harris's face. I'm going to post in the comments. Check back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to figure out what time it is and post in the comments. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're not, most of y'all are followers. But if you're not, hit the follow button, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.